All right, our second meeting tonight is a meeting of the Cunningham Township Board. It's January 14th, 2019. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustees Brown.
Here.
Hazen.
Here.
Hersey.
Here.
Jacobson.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Wu.
Here.
Mayor Marlin.
Here. We have several sets of minutes from the previous meetings, December 3rd, 2018, the public hearing from December 3rd, the December 10th City Council joint meeting, and the January 7th City Council joint meeting. Is there a motion for approval?
I'll move approval of the minutes.
I'll second.
I'll go on each side. So moved by Jared and seconded by Mary Alice. Any corrections? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Any additions to the agenda? No additions? Public participation. Does anyone wish to address the Cunningham Town Board? Seeing none. Committee to verify bills, Town Fund and GA Fund.
Yeah, so you have before you my monthly memo. The town fund, we had $50,610.61 in expenditures. General assistance fund was $98,689.74 in expenditures. The total for the month was $149,300.35.
Any questions for Danielle? Eric?
Just quickly, what are the trend lines? Is this above or below your expected expenditures?
Oh, so I think this is generally on par. We did, so I have a couple of notes in the general assistance statistics, which I can go over. We are essentially kind of bouncing up and down. We hit a ceiling of, I think the highest was 125. We then came down to 87. We've instituted a process of doing a warning and then a termination once we do a warning. So we're and we actually hand the warning with the check, so we make sure that it's clear. Because a lot of the issues in the office are, you will see that 49 of the general assistance participants are homeless. So making sure that the homeless who don't have an address are receiving the warnings from our office before termination. So we saw a bump down with terminations. We saw a bump back up as people complied with what they needed to and got back on general assistance, and then we have new folks who came on. This last month was particularly large with homeless assistance. We had 22 households served. I had to note that we average 5 to 15 per month. The reason for that is a hypothesis, which it appears that our assistance really goes up right before August and right before January. And I think that's because the landlords clear out folks who have not been paying to make room for new people, and those are the time periods in a college town when people tend to start a lease. So I saw a bump in July and I've seen it now since I've been in almost 2 years. I've seen kind of regular increases. I also see, and we generally see an increase over the winter. I think people become more desperate in trying to get into housing who are homeless. And so we see additional applications. In terms of general assistance, we did a significant clear out of pending applications. We usually have a number of pending applications, and we decided to end the year with 0 pending applications. So we did a major push to get a lot of folks on before the holidays. So partly because that meant more people in housing, more people receiving support during that break time when there's a lot of other services that close down. So there's a slight bump you'll see in terms of clearing out those pending applications, so that GA is up some. But at this point, we still are, staying under our 125%. When we get into the financial report, you'll see we're right at 50% for general assistance this year.
Any other questions? Mary Alice?
So I think it would be helpful to include, and I think you've included this in the past, the rental assistance, eviction prevention. I think I just counted up the number of payments here. It looks like we've assisted 22 households this
That's
month.
correct.
Is that correct?
Yeah, and that's the
Up
memo
there,
that
homeless
you have.
assistance. Is that what the homeless assistance is?
Correct. So homeless assistance is either eviction prevention or it's getting homeless into housing. So it's rental assistance. It's both. And I typically break it up into, I'll let you know how many eviction prevention and how many homeless assistance. But I don't have those stats for this month because of intern changeover at the end of the semester. So, but I do want to generally be able to provide you so you understand how many evictions. I would say this number had a higher than average number of evictions. Typically, we see a small number of each.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Do we need a
A motion?
Motion to approve.
I'll move approval of the town fund and the general assistance fund.
moved
Second.
by Jared, second by Eric? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That motion passes. Mid-year financial report.
Yes, so I wanted to, so as requested, we would like to give quarterly reports. We gave a report a quarter ago. We were pretty much on target. I sent this out digitally on Thursday. I was with your packet. I've also printed to the best of my ability an 11 by 17. If you want to buy us a copy of the prints larger, we could do that. But
Or magnifying glass.
exactly, or maybe some magnifying glasses. But I wanted to just go over the variances. So what I did is I noted in the far right column, anytime we're over, say, 55% or so, what is that variance? Why are we over? I'm not so worried about under when it comes to expenses. I will note that in terms of our interest income, we've already made all of the interest we expected for the year, so we're doing better than average. That was because of the restructuring of our interest. We're actually looking to do that again with some of the interest rate changes. So I'm hoping to continue to see that. You'll also see we have an angel donor fund. We had, for the first time, a number of donations. We had $900 come in December. And we have a number of pledged donations. We are tax exempt, so we can provide a tax exempt letter, and there are some folks who wanted to make donations before the year for that reason. If you go down to the expenses side, I'll let the assessor answer any questions around the assessment, but the legal line, we're over because of the heavy prep for the Carl trial. That's to be expected. The audit, we're over because the audit is complete in the first quarter. Our build Urbana is significantly over, and I think that's actually a good sign. We have better than expected home sales in Urbana, so we are paying out more to the Build Urbana program than expected, and we're fine with that. If you want to continue to build homes, we're happy to receive that future income. On the docket this evening, we're asking for some additional another seat for case management software, so we're a little bit above in terms of computer software. That's primarily Visual GA, our case management software. Utilities, we have we're seeing high utility costs, and so we're actually ordering a energy audit to understand why our utility costs are so high. It's almost all gas and electric. So you'll see we're at 59% on utilities, and that's almost all the Ameren bill. Telephone and internet, we actually will probably come under budget because we converted to a much less expensive option, but we had some upfront costs in the conversion. So we're at 69% of our budget. We'll see under grants, you'll see a number of things where the grant was from last year, but it was paid out in this fiscal year, so you'll see it's at 100%. Whereas most grants in this fiscal year would be at 50%. And we see that each year since we operate on a cash basis. If you go down to the program section, which is the 6,700, essentially we are scheduled to pay half of the other grants. We probably will not pay that full amount because, as you agreed to in the last meeting, we're doing $25,000 first half of the calendar year and $25,000 the second, so we'll come under. There were the work and training supplies is almost all MTD bus passes. I will say it's one of the most important things I think that we do is to provide free bus passes for folks who are in our community work program and for the homeless who don't have access. And we're actually required for anyone in our community work program, we have to provide transportation so that they can get to Salt and Light or their other host sites. Community Foundation is supposed to pay for half. There was delays in accessing those funds. So essentially, we are over budget. We also saw a much higher than expected demand for those bus passes. I actually am going to be meeting with MTD to see what we could do to kind of partner more closely on the bus pass issue. If you look at 6731 emergency assistance, and I brought this up at the quarterly report as well, this is all exclusively payments for hotel in the last fiscal year that were made in fiscal year 19. We don't expect any additional expenses here as we're not running the hotel program. And if you'll see at the very bottom, I think probably one of the most important pieces is where are we in terms of our overall expenses? We're exactly at 50%. So we're on target in terms of our budget. I was surprised by that. I thought we might be slightly under over, but we're on target with that piece. And happy to answer any questions you might have.
Seeing no questions, do we have a report from the assessor?
Yes.
Okay. Wayne Williams?
So December was a kind of busy month for us. My office partnered with the Recorder of Deeds, Mark Sheldon, and we went out and proactively identified seniors who were eligible for the senior exemption but were not receiving it for whatever reason. And my office mailed letters to them informing them that they could apply for the senior exemption. We mailed out over 200 letters, right at about 200 letters. There were a number of people who returned it. Most people were very happy because they did not know that they were going to be eligible, and they will see a savings of about $400 to $500. Thank you. $400 to $500 next year on their property tax bill. The assessment complaints are all done. We've posted the decisions to cards, and we are in the process of scanning our cards so we can go to the transition to paperless. It's a slow process, but a necessary one. We probably have about 10% of the cards scanned, and again, I'm hoping to have all of that done by the end of the calendar year. I would like to announce that I am that my office is pleased to welcome William Harris to our staff. He's going to fill the role of Chief Deputy. He's actually in the office right now. Will, if you can stand. William has a bachelor's degree in communication from Georgia Southern, and he brings 7 years of experience with the DeKalb County, Georgia Assessor's Office. We're in the process of completing viewing lists for 2019 assessor work in preparation to get all our numbers in by June 15th. Are there any questions?
Mary Alice?
So if I'm reading this correctly, your office is it at 38% for the year, is that right?
35 total, yes.
It's even smaller.
Yeah, so a lot of that is because we had a large chunk in administrative services, and that was supposed to assist with the conversion to our new CAMA and going paperless. We haven't incurred a lot of those expenses yet, and because we didn't go with the vendor that I thought we were going to go with when I asked for that request, and I've been working with Danielle to figure out ways to do it at a much lower cost. You know, I'm hoping not to spend anywhere near that amount of money there. As far as salaried, I have 2 student interns that are working in my office. And as you know, the chief deputy position has been vacant this entire, up until now.
Okay.
So.
All right, thank you.
Bill?
When you were talking to people about the senior exemption, did you also bring up the other senior citizen options like the freeze and the potential, I guess, the kind of reverse mortgage thing they can do if they get in, if they are having trouble?
So not the reverse mortgage part, and I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to. I think that's a state program that you're referring to, where where the state basically takes on the property tax liability. So that, no, we did not discuss. We did put a little blurb about the senior freeze and let people know that that was limited to income. And whenever anyone has questions, we give them assistance. And we're actually going to do our annual mailing where we mail out status forms. So the county assessor requires that everyone who receives a senior exemption, they sign a status form just so we know that they're still living in the property. So we're starting that mailing, and that's going to go out in the next couple weeks. And with that mailing, we send out the senior freeze applications.
Okay, thanks. I think I know I know of at least one case where that senior kind of reverse mortgage thing through the state would have probably saved a foreclosure. So I think sometimes that can be really important to prevent homelessness. And for somebody that's just going to be in their house for another 10 years or so, it could, or less, it could be a real lifesaver.
Any other questions? Eric?
Just to follow up on Bill's question or comment, is it possible to send out information about such a program with the bill?
So we don't send out the bill. We send out the assessments. The county treasurer sends out the bill. There is information about the senior exemption on the bill, the senior freeze. And there's a box where you can check your tax bill to see if you're getting the senior freeze or senior exemption. You'd be surprised, a lot of people don't read their tax bills for whatever reason. And just to give you a couple of examples, I mean, we've had, you're eligible for the senior exemption when you're 65. Mark Sheldon and I working together, combing our databases, we found people that were in their 70s that just never applied. They just didn't know, or they thought it was automatic, or for whatever reason. And they'll be able to get it next year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
And welcome, William Harris and your family. Apologies for the snowstorm that greeted you upon your arrival from Georgia.
I warned them it gets cold here.
So noted. All right, is there any unfinished business? All right. Under new business is Resolution T 2019-01-001R, which is a resolution authorizing the Township Supervisor to sign an agreement for NFS Enterprises, additional visual GA license.
Yeah, I think this is to request an additional visual GA license. We have 4 seats and 6 people who use it, and you can't there's only 4 seats that can access it, and it's become essential backbone to every conversation we have with clients. And therefore, we're requesting additional seat. It was not budgeted for, but it's such an onerous situation to have people log out so that someone else can log in that I will take the budget from a different line item. We're way under on a number of items. So I'd like to move forward. It does require an additional signed agreement, so I'm required to come to you to ask for that.
Is there a motion?
Do that. I'll make a motion that we adopt Resolution T-2019-01-0001R, a resolution authorizing the Township Supervisor to sign an agreement with NFS Enterprises for an additional visual GA license.
Second.
Moved by Dennis, seconded by Eric. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion passes. With no further business before the Cunningham Town Board, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say welcome, Ms. Hersey, to the town board. We're happy to have you. Thanks.
Thank you.